Well, Ross Olivieri, a famous name in harness racing throughout the world. Ross has been a premier trainer in Western Australia 8 times. He's trained and driven winners in America, New Zealand, every state of Australia. And here at Gloucester Park on Friday night, he's got 6 runners, and all have got good each-way prospects. And Ross, looking at the main race, the $50,000 Christmas gift, it's a race you've won twice, and you've got one of the only 2 mares in the race in Madam Meland.
Yeah, Ken, she's been a revelation since she came over from Victoria. She won a lot of races and a lot of money, and we gave her a break. She came back and she was looking good, and she suffered a very bad bruised heel, and it's got in the road of this prep a little bit, but would have liked to have drawn better than where she did, but she's in there, but I don't know that she can win it.
Well, she's drawn barrier 6, which is a rather awkward draw, but your main driver, Chris Lewis, he'll certainly get her into a good position in the race.
Hope so. That's why we pay him the big bucks.
And you've won the Christmas gift twice, way back in the early 90s, I think, with Savette. And I'm a Peregrine won the Christmas gift only a couple of seasons ago.
Well, that's all news to me, but yeah, okay. If you say so, that'll be right.
So can Madam Meland cause an upset and fight out the finish of the Christmas gift?
Look, I'd hope so, but being realistic, the Bond horse Saying Grace is just in superlative form, and it's hard to see him being toppled, but then again, things can happen in races you don't expect, so she's in there with a chance. We'll be doing our best.
One horse we're all looking forward to seeing resuming racing at Gloucester Park on Friday night is Lord Willoughby. He's been off the scene for a while, but he's got an outstanding record, Lord Willoughby. He's drawn the inside of the back line in one of the early races, Ross. And how's his preparation coming along?
Well, we've been pretty pleased with him. He raced, his last prep went for a year. He had 10 weeks off, and he's probably had about 14 weeks work. And he would play a part in that race. I'd be very disappointed if he didn't run in the first 4.
Well, that's what he did last preparation, and the horse has got a wonderful record. I think apart from all his wins, he's run about 16 seconds and 7 thirds, so he's been a model of consistency.
Yeah, he's been a good horse for the punters, your each way punters, and that he's done a hell of a job actually.
Then we look at one of your big horses, Kid Colossus. He's drawn barrier 7. That's not going to suit him terribly much in race 6 on the program. Kid Colossus, Mitch Miller's going to take the drive. He's a 7-year-old. He's only had 39 starts for 6 wins, 9 placings. At his last start, he galloped out in a stand at Narrogin, Ross, but still ran 4th, and he'd won twice at his 2 previous starts at Pinjarra, so his form's pretty good.
Yeah, look, he's been a horse that has shown in the past flashes of form, but couldn't keep it together and couldn't hold condition, and was really an angry chappie. In fact, none of the boys liked him. He wasn't a very popular horse around the stable. And then my wife, who's a vet, Gemma, discovered when we were doing a routine teeth on him that he had a broken tooth way up the top, up the back, and that tooth was infected, and that infection had been there for some time, and it was obviously worrying him. I know what sore teeth do to you, that drive you mad. And they actually had to bore a hole in his sinus and bash a cold chisel down to whack it out, and then treat the infection. And now he's back, and he's a much more friendly horse. He's a lot easier to get along with. He's still a rangy horse, but at least he's holding his condition. And he's starting to race up to some of the promise that he showed glimpses of way back when.
It's amazing, Ross, the amount of different ailments and problems horses have.
Yeah. Well, I was once told that if you had a horse and it didn't have anything wrong with it, you put it in a padded stall to keep it from injuring itself, it probably develop an allergy to the padding. So, that's about what happens here. It's a problem-solving exercise every inch of the way.
And on Friday night, Ross, you've got 2 runners in the stand, and they both got reasonable chances. Behind us was the magnificent-looking Costa del Magnifico. He's drawn the front line, and It's Better to Win is also in that race, drawn off the 10-metre line, and It's Better to Win's racing pretty well.
Yeah, don't underestimate Costa either. He'll pick up a race like this, but this race, our Max Factor he's in superlative form and looks very, very hard to beat. He has muffed the start once or twice, and if a horse like Costa found the front, or if he did too much work, my horses are knockout horses, but realistically they're probably only place chances in that race.
Talking about a realistic chance, I really give Back to the Beach, your 5-year-old, a big chance of winning race 7 on the program. Back to the Beach, 9 wins, 13 placings from 49 starts. He raced first up at Gloucester Park last Saturday night, won a good second when he sat behind the pacemaker and finished second at Good Times Ahead. Beautifully drawn, Ross, at barrier 2.
You only know that he's a good chance because I told you.
Well, I had to glean a bit of information out of some of these trainers to find out whether the horses are going to be prominent.
Yeah, no, look, I hate saying yeah, no. Everyone gets on the interview and says yeah, no, which doesn't make sense.
Certainly not.
He is a very good chance in that race. He looks like he might find the front from that draw. He's pretty quick out, and his first up second was good. He needed the run, and he's gone forward since then. So I think he's the second and none chance in that race.
And Ross, looking forward to the WA Pacing Cup, the Fremantle Cup, Motu Premier. He's out of action, but you'll still have a couple of candidates.
Yeah, we took a decision about 3 or 4 weeks ago that we weren't going to rush Motu Premier up for the Cup, which we would have needed to do at that point. We've taken a conservative route and we're aiming for next year. We've got Mr. Mojito. We've got I'm Full of Excuses, which is absolutely low flying on the track, but didn't produce in the Bunbury Cup, and has had a couple of ballots lately. I'm really thinking that he can get back to that form where he won all those country cups, and probably even a bit better than that. He's been working sensationally, but just hasn't had the opportunity on the track. He's had bad barrier draws, and then at Bunbury, I think we worked out after the race that we hadn't been forward out of a mobile gate for probably 12 months. So maybe he just wasn't sort of used to being gunned early. But I think he can play a part. Got a horse like Lord Willoughby that might improve. What else have we got?
Well, Mr. Mojito, I reckon he's a chance in the Cups.
Yeah, he's a class act.
Well, you'd have to be happy with his win last week at Gloucester Park.
Yeah, he's 3 runs. He's 2 seconds and a win, and they've all been good. So he's a chance.
And you've had success in the past with your Square Gators. Son of Flindenny, a very easy win at Pinjarra on Monday of last week, and he must be one of the major chances in the Rich Trotters Cup coming up shortly.
Looking forward to that race. He's trotting really, really well, and he trotted well the first prep we gave him, and then we gave him a spell, and he's come back really, really well. So I think he's probably the one to beat in the Trotters Cup. The handicaps will determine a little bit, but he's good at the stand, and it'll be a stand. So, yeah, he's second and none chance in that.
So, Ross, 6 runners on Friday night at Gloucester Park. Madame Milan, perhaps she'll get a perfect run and could give you your 3rd win in a Christmas gift.
That would be nice. That would be nice, but I think our best chance is Back to the Beach.
Thanks very much, Ross.